folks, a few thousand people in the overflow room. And we thank the several thousand people who could not get in. Dulcie and Anita and Dorothy for their strong introductions. It sounds to me like the people of Vancouver and the state of Washington are ready for a political revolution. Campaign about 10 months ago, the general feeling of the media and the pundits is that we were looking at a coronation, that there was an anointed candidate who would simply and quietly get the Democratic nomination. 10 months. 10 months have come and gone. Doesn't look to me like that. Today, we have won caucuses and primaries in 9 states. And in the next couple of weeks, we expect to win a number more, including here in Hudson. Generating an incredible amount of excitement because the American people know that we have some very serious crises, and these crises are not going to be solved by establishment politics or establishment economics. Change in this country, and between you and me, I do not believe that real change is going to come from a candidate like Secretary Clinton, who receives millions of dollars, who has a super PAC that receives $15 million from Wall Street, money from the fossil fuel. Let me begin by telling you something that no other candidate for president will tell you, but is the truth. And here it is. The truth is that the ruling class of this country, the people who control our economic and political life, are so powerful. And I'm talking about Wall Street, which literally has, and I mean this literally, an endless supply of money. I'm talking about corporate America that would shut down a plant in Washington and move elsewhere if they can make $5 more in profit. I'm talking about the corporate media, which will talk about everything except the most important issues facing the American people. Courageous people have fought and died to retain American democracy, and we are not going to allow billionaires to take it away from us. And one of the reasons that this campaign has surprised so many people and is doing so well is that we're doing something extremely unusual in American politics. We are telling the truth. The truth is, all of you know in life, whether it's personal, whether it's political, the truth is not always pleasant. It's not what we want to hear. But we know that we cannot go forward as a nation if the most important issues are swept under the rug, if we entertain ourselves to death, we have got to address the real crises facing these countries, bring them out right out in the open. Issue number one, as I just mentioned, our current campaign finance system is corrupt. It is undermined democracy. One of the goals of this campaign is to do everything that we can, is to get Americans to think outside of the box. Not to believe that the reality that is in front of us is the only reality that we can create. So here is the political reality today. People watch the TV, they look at the newspapers, billionaires pouring huge sums of money into the political process, and we have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. Last election in November 2014, 63% of the American people didn't vote, 80% of young people didn't vote. That is a reality that is unacceptable. Together we're going to change it. Finances right now all over this country. You got Republican governors who are doing everything they can to suppress the vote, to make it harder for African Americans, for Latinos, for poor people, for old people to participate in the democratic process. How outrageous is that? Is to have and create a nation in which we have one of the highest voting rates in the world, not one of the lowest. And we all know why these Republican governors are doing what they are doing. And the answer is they are afraid of a free and fair election. Republican governors and legislatures, if you don't have the guts to compete in a free and fair election, get out of politics, get out of democracy is not a complicated process. All that it means is one person, one vote. You gotta vote. You gotta vote, you gotta vote. It is not about governors trying to prevent you from voting. It is not about billionaires buying elections. If I have anything to say about it, and if elected president, I will. We are going to have a system in this country, which already exists in countries around the world. If you are 18 years of age and a citizen, you are registered to vote. End of this country. Let me suggest to you that what this campaign is about is not only a corrupt campaign finance system, it is a rigged economy. Here's what a rigged economy looks like. It looks like a nation in which the top 1/10 of 1%, not 1%, 1/10 of 1%, now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. It is an economy in which which the 20 wealthiest people, 20 people, now own more wealth than the bottom half of America, 150 million Americans. Let me give you just one out of many examples of what a rigged economy means. It means that the wealthiest family in this country is the Walton family that owns Walmart. And this family pays its employees wages that are so low that many of these workers have to be on Medicaid, food stamps, or subsidized housing. And who do you think is paying in taxes for that food stamps and Medicaid and subsidized? What a rigged economy is about is when working people pay higher taxes to subsidize the company owned by the wealthiest family in America. To the Walton family, get off of welfare, pay your workers a living wage. A rigged economy is when the middle class has a tax rate, an effective tax rate, which is higher than many millionaires and billionaires. That's a rigged economy. A rigged economy is when large corporations making billions of dollars a year in profit in a given year pay nothing in federal income taxes. So are you ready for a radical idea? To create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. People in this country should not have to work at 2 or 3 jobs in order to make a living and get some health care. And kids working, that is not what this country is supposed to be about. And that is why we're going to raise the minimum wage nationally to $15. But it is not just a rigged economy or a corrupt campaign finance system. It is a broken criminal justice system. Again, I'd ask you to think outside of the box and ask yourselves why in this country today we should have more people in jail, largely African American, Latino, Native American, than any other country on earth. That's crazy. While we have more people in jail, we also have rates of youth unemployment for African American kids that are now at 51%. What we are going to do is invest in education and jobs, not justice system. We are talking about the need for real police department reform. Whether we're black or white or Latino or Asian American or Native American, we are tired of seeing unarmed people being shot. and I've worked with local and state and police departments all over this country, and the truth is, vast majority of police officers are honest and hardworking and have a very like any other public official, if a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We need to demilitarize local police. Police departments look like the diversity of the communities they serve. We need to recognize that to a significant degree, the war on drugs has failed. Today, and over the last 30 years, there are millions of Americans who have police records for possessing marijuana. And a police record is not a joke when you're going to apply for a job. It is not a joke. Now, right now, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug right alongside of heroin. Now, while scientists and others may argue the pluses and minuses of marijuana, everybody knows it is not a killer drug like heroin. To take marijuana out of the federal control system. As you all know, it is a decision of the state whether or not to legalize marijuana, but it should not be a federal crime. And the problems we have, I can tell you that in my own state of Vermont, neighboring New Hampshire, and many other places, drug addiction, heroin overdose, opiate overdose, deaths due to overdosing is a major national crisis. And what we have got to recognize is that if we're going to be effective in addressing that crisis, we have got to look at substance abuse as a health issue, not a crime. This campaign is doing well because, like other campaigns, we don't spend half our lives talking to wealthy campaign contributors. We are listening to the American people. This is what the American people are telling us. What they are telling us that workers cannot make it on $9 or $10 an hour, which is why we raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. That senior citizens in Washington or Vermont cannot make it on $10,000, $11,000 a year Social Security. My Republican colleagues in the Senate want to cut Social Security. We've got some bad news for them. We are going to increase benefits. is listening to young people. Young people who, by definition, are the future of America. To make a political statement here, it's interesting. As we go along this campaign, we are not doing well. We're working on it. I can't tell you why. We are not doing well with older people. But we are doing phenomenally well with younger people. In most of the elections that we have had, we win the majority of votes of people under 45 years of age. Very young people, you don't think 45 is young. But when you get older, you will appreciate that 45 is shocking. And there was a report that just came out the other day that said that we have received more votes from people under 30 than Trump and Clinton combined. And this is no small thing, because the young people and their ideas and their vision and their dreams for America, that is the future of this country, and that is what this campaign is doing. When we listen to young people, this is what they are telling me. They're saying, Bernie, how does it happen that when everybody tells us we have got to get a good education, that education is so vitally important to our futures and the future of the country, why is it that we're leaving school with $30,000 or $50,000 in debt? And again, I want you to think outside of the box. Everybody knows that education and learning is inherent in who we are as human beings. Everybody here knows that we are living in a competitive global economy. We need the best educated workforce in the world to succeed. If that is true, why are we punishing millions of young people with outrageous levels of student debt for what crime? What crime? Last that I heard, getting an education was not a crime that deserved punishment. Young kids were working in factories and farms, and people said no. They deserve an education just like the children of our parents. But what you all know is the world has changed in the last 50 years. The economy has changed. Technology has changed. Today, public education cannot be considered just first grade through 12th grade. Degree today is the equivalent of what a high school degree was 50 years ago. And that is why I believe we must make public colleges and universities tuition free. I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of money. Neither of my parents went to college. And that's true. That is true for millions of families in America today. If we can make it clear that public colleges and universities are tuition free, what that will mean is that every kid, regardless of his or her income, here in the state of Washington, that kid will know that if they study hard, do well in school, regardless of their income, they will be able to get a college. And the second issue that we've got to deal with is the fact that millions of people have outrageously high levels of student debt right now. For those people, we have got to give them the opportunity to refinance those loans at the lowest interest rates they can offer. Now, my opponents and members of the establishment, they attack me and they say, well, Bernie, you know, you're like Santa Claus, you're giving out all of this free stuff. How are you going to pay for it? I will tell you, and this again requires thinking outside of the box. 8 years ago, as a result of the greed and recklessness and illegal behavior on Wall Street, Congress bailed them out. Well, I think that right now it is time for a tax on Wall Street speculation. Money to make public colleges and universities tuition-free and lower student debt throughout this country. If Congress could bail out Wall Street now, it is the time for Wall Street to help the middle class in this country. This campaign is listening to the Latino community. 11 million undocumented people in this country, they are asking, and I agree, for comprehensive immigration reform and impact our system. To our brothers and sisters in the African American community. And they are tired of seeing their communities racked with high unemployment, inferior schools, lack of health care. They are tired and should be tired of seeing our jails filled with young African Americans. We are all tired of seeing Flint, Michigans, where children are instead of giving billions or hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the wealthiest families in this country, which is what all the Republicans want to do, we are going to invest in communities all over this country. We don't need any more Flint, Michigans. And by the way, if you think it's just Flint, Michigan, which has a water system that is collapsing, you'd be wrong. Hundreds of communities in this country face serious water problems. We have our infrastructure as a nation, which is collapsing in many parts of this country. Water systems, wastewater plants, roads in my state, many of our bridges are in need of major repair. Airports, investment, an investment that we fund by doing away with corporate tax loopholes, can rebuild our infrastructure, create 13 million good-paying jobs. This campaign is listening to the Native American communities. Anyone who has read 5 minutes of American history understands how shamefully and dishonorably we have treated the First Amendment. The first Americans so much for enriching our culture and for teaching us about the environment that we live with nature, not against it. What has gone on and has gone on for years in terms of lies and cheating and breaking of treaties with the Native American people is not acceptable. Together we are going to change that and treat Native Americans with the respect that is long demanded. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. I will tell you what all of you know, and yet my Republican colleagues apparently do not know. And that is climate change is real. It is caused by human activity, and it is already causing devastating problems in this country and around the world. Moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for future generations. What we have got to do is summon up the courage to take on the fossil fuel industry and away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energies. And when we do that, we create millions of good-paying jobs. Now, I have been criticized for saying this, so let me say it again. Every major country on earth, throughout Europe, Scandinavia, Canada, guarantees health care to all of their. Let me be very clear in saying that I believe that health care is a right, not a privilege. Has done some very important things, but we have got to go further. 29 million Americans today still have no health insurance. Many of you and tens of millions of other Americans are underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments. And the drug companies are ripping us off in an untouched way. by far the highest prices in the world for medicine. People are dying in America because they can't afford the drugs their doctors prescribe. That is why I believe the time is long overdue for this country to move toward a Medicare for all, single payer. Here today knows that real change never takes place from the top on down, always takes place from the bottom up. That is true of workers coming together to form unions, to fight for dignity and decent wages and decent benefits in their jobs. This is the history of the civil rights movement, where blacks and their white allies came together to say, sorry, segregation and racism is not acceptable. Women and their male allies said, you know what? In America, women will not be second-class citizens. If we were in this room 10 years ago, which from an historical perspective is no time at all, we were here 10 years ago and somebody jumped up and said, you know, I think that gay marriage will be legal in 50 states in America by the year 2015. The person next to him would have said, you are nuts, what are you smoking? Which raises another issue, but the gay community and their straight allies stood up against horrific hatred. I've seen some of that hatred. And they said, you know, in America, people should have the right to love whoever they want. I reference those examples to make a very basic point, is that real change never occurs unless millions of people look around them and they say, you know what, whether it is racism, sexism, homophobia, or the exploitation of children or workers, they look around them and they say, you know what, this is wrong, it's got to change. That moment, that pivotal moment in American history today, people are looking around and they're saying, why is it that we have more wealth and income inequality than any other major country on earth? Why is it that we're seeing the proliferation of millionaires at the same time as we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth? Why is it that people in this country have to work 2 or 3 hours? Why do we still have a broken criminal justice system and institutional racism? Why are millions of people in debt because they went to college? Why are we the only country that doesn't guarantee health care to all or paid medical and family leave? Too big. Creating a decent standard of living for all of our people, protecting our children and our seniors and our veterans. That is not radical. That's what the American people want. you will have an opportunity to help lead this country in a very different way. The political reality is we win when voter turnout is high, we lose when voter turnout is low. Next Saturday, 9 o'clock, please bring your friends and your co-workers and your family. Let's have